And my biggest thing was I wanted to make sure that I use what God gave me to give away. I'll say that again. I wanted to use what God gave me to give away.
Right.
I didn't want to be a generational thief. If God gave me something to give away, then I have to give it away. So the Bible says, empty yourself. When you go to your grave, you got to be empty. So what does that mean? Whatever gifts and talents you have, you got to pour that to the next generation.
Hey everybody, welcome to the CB Baker Show. I am back again with the CEO and founder of Touch a Life Academy, Eric James.
Sir.
Yes, welcome to the show.
Thank you, my brother. I appreciate you having me.
So I'm looking forward to this. We've known each other for years, but never actually had a chance to sit down and talk because every time we're around each other, we're at a UEU event with our wives. It is not meant, men is just the backdrop, at those type of events. Yeah. So we never really get a chance to just sit down and chop it up. So so y'all get an actual benefit because we get to now sit down and chop it up. I get to find out firsthand what the great Eric James does.
Man,
so
very humble.
Right. So the backdrop to this is after one of the events, I go on Facebook, we get connected, and I see you doing motivational speaking, talking to the kids and doing things. It's like, wait a minute now. I do some of the same things, and how are we not like best friends?
Exactly, right.
We had so much in common. Both went to HBCUs and graduated from HBCUs, so, in the hip hop, in the music, and I'm telling y'all, Eric is definitely a well-diverse man. This is going to be a great episode. So,
right.
First question, Touch a Life Academy.
Yes, sir.
How did that get born?
All right. So how did Touch a Life get born? First of all, how I named my organization, in my after school program, I taught STEP to a bunch of students out of middle school. And there was this professor there. She told me, she said, touch a life today. I was like, what did you say? She said, touch a life. I was like, wow, what do you mean by that? She said, well, the kids are always around you and they love being with you. I said, well, how do you know? She said, well, I watch you. I said, really? And she said, she's amazed by my influence on the kids. So fast forward, when I was, when my niece, who's a Delta, who's graduated from Georgia Tech, who was my advisor, she said, you need to name your business. So when I wanted to name my business, I thought about when the professor told me, she said, you're always touching lives. Then one person told me, you should have your own school. So I just put Touch a Life and Academy together. And I called my business Touch a Life Academy. That's the short version.
Okay.
So that's how Touch a Life came, because other people spoke into my life and they saw what I was doing. So when I work with people, I'm not looking for accolades and certificates, and because when I'm serving God, I'm in my purpose. So when I do something, I'm going to do it. So when I'm working with the kids, I'm just going hard. But there are people watching what you do all the time. So, and they understood my passion and then saw the influence that I had on the kids. So, fast forward, when it's time to name my business, I started thinking about those people who actually thought enough to speak into my life. So other people actually form my business for me. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So for as you dealing and working with the kids, how did that come about?
First, I want to say that a lot of this stems from how I was raised. Me being the baby of 12 kids, same mom, same dad. I got a lot of those morals and values at home, not school, home. Your parents are your first teachers, not your kindergarten teacher. It's your parents, whether they're educated or not, because they're your first teachers. So with all of that being said, I got everything I needed at home, but moving forward, and as I got older, I realized that there's a lot of kids that did not get what I had at home. I felt very fortunate to have been born in a loving home. And then getting older, I saw these kids who were struggling because they didn't have what I had. And my heart kind of went out to them, and, empathy set in on me. They're asking kids to pass tests, do this, come to class, have pencils, all of this, but you go see where they live, and it's hard for them to meet those expectations. So my heart kind of just went out to those unfortunate kids. There's a lot of kids that are, they can, we have some diamonds in the rough. There's some kids that's going to make it through, but some of them are not going to make it if somebody else does not step in. Right. So my heart, kids just took my heart because of the demand that was placed on kids, test scores, this and that. And I'm like, how can they pass tests and they don't even have basic stuff at home? Physiological needs. So I'm like, something has to be done about that. So, but sometimes people can't go into to see what a kid's life is like. You're kind of confounded to the school setting. So I just start going overboard and helping kids and bridging the gap, man, standing in the gap, because they're our future. One of these kids might be taking care of me one day. Yeah. So I gotta get it. I gotta give it to him. But it's not about me. It's about God using me for His will. So when you say God use me for Your will, watch out. Right. He coming.
Now, what's interesting about this? A lot of people talk about what you just talked about.
Yes, sir.
They'll sit in the room and talk about the kids or the community don't have X, Y, and Z.
Right.
But then after they get done talking, they go get lunch. Or turn on the TV and go on about their life. They actually don't put action behind it. What I like about the story you just said is you saw it and really didn't talk about it. You went straight into action.
All day. I coach football.
Yeah.
So, and you play football. So, you can't win unless you actually get on the field. A lot of people, when you want to get in the game, you can't be on the sideline. There are people coming and watch you play, but in order for you to play, you got to get in the game. But also, I'm gonna go higher with this. When you're a servant, you serve, and a lot of times people want fancy names and business names, and I did this, I done that. But the real work starts when you're actually in that person's face and you're finding out their needs. Yeah, and sometimes when you go into a person's life, you can't be judgmental. You got to meet them where they are. But the biggest thing, it got to come from the heart. And my symbol has a heart up here, and it has somebody hands reaching for the heart. Kids know when you're fake. They know when you're phony. They know when you just trying to do you for a little bit.
Right.
They know when you want to help. And my biggest thing was I wanted to make sure that I use what God gave me to give away. I'll say that again. I wanted to use what God gave me to give away.
Right.
I didn't want to be a generational thief. If God gave me something to give away, then I have to give it away. So the Bible says, empty yourself. When you go to your grave, you got to be empty. So what does that mean? Whatever gifts and talents you have, you got to pour that to the next generation, because that's who's going to be running the world next. So if I'm sitting here saying I want the kids to do well, I'm not doing anything. I'm just talking.
Right.
So kids want to see you interact with them, and you'll find their needs and wants just by being around them. You got to meet them where they are. So if you're talking about feeding a kid and you got means to feed a kid, that kid is going to do whatever you say the next 20, 30, 40 years because you fulfilled a need, not a want,
right,
but a need. So, the sexy titles is great and all that. But the real work starts when you're actually doing those, of course, you've heard of Maslow's hierarchy. You have physiological needs, you have love and belonging, you have self-actualization. It's a hierarchy. But if you can't fulfill basic needs, they can't even find out who they are. So I love helping kids, athletes, whatever, and finding out, okay, what are you good at doing? So this is what you got to do, and teach them about. You got to help them to find out who they are so they can have a good quality of life. But first, you got to find out who you got to get around them. You got to get in the game.
Right. So part of your purpose or calling is really to help other people.
Yes.
And kids find their calling and purpose early.
Yes, sir.
So they don't end up, like some of us adults out here still like wandering around like, am I doing what I want to do? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing?
Right.
Yes,
sir.
And, in this realm of uncertainty, where you're trying to catch the kids early, at least giving them a blueprint of like what an area of what they could be good at and what they would like.
And, sometimes we, when I worked in a school system,
right.
Sometimes we put our own, images and what we want our kids to be. No, ask, hey, your dad was a doctor, you're going to be a doctor. Well, what if the kid doesn't want to be a doctor? Does it,
right.
And success is fine different for people. Success looks very, my success looks different than your success, but it's open. So when kids are finding out their gifts and talents, Steve Harvey said it best. He said, if you want a kid to learn math first, ask them about what they dream about. What do they like first? And then use that and then tie it into math.
Right.
So if you want to become this, first we got to do this math first. You got to draw the line for them. They need to see a flow chart. So, but if there's no relationship with a kid, you're going to get some, we call it little defiance. You might get some resistance. Mm-hmm. So rules without relationship equal rebellion. You got to get the relationship first. So then after they trust you, they'll follow you. But first, they need to see that you have their best interests at heart. And sometimes it takes a little time because kids right now, they don't open up to you as much. They have trust issues. They got things in the past, what somebody did to me, and here you come, want to help. They need to see that you care. And when you do that, they'll follow you. But we have all these organizations out here that say they do certain things. And it really boils down to you doing what you're called to do. And if you're excited about it, you don't need nobody to motivate you to do it. You're just going to do it.
Right.
Even if you're doing it by yourself, but other people see that you're doing it and they come help, so that's the beauty of it. And but when you get a few people together who are like-minded and want to help kids, you can help hundreds.
Right.
The Bible says one can put 1,000 in flight, two can put 10,000 in flight. The more you have, more like-minded people you have together, you can help. Because there are a lot of situations out here that people are not going to fix if the right people don't come together. We've been working on stuff forever. It'll never get fixed until the right people are right there with those kids doing it. You have to be in their face.
So what do you think is society's problem or the reason why they're not really focusing on kids, like how they say they're doing it?
Well, I'm gonna go deeper than society. I'm gonna go to the home. That's what the breakdown is. You can ask government. The government is not going to be able to fix stuff. The police, the churches are great, but if the home is not well, it's so much red tape you got to get through. It's so much, there's organizations out there to do stuff, and if you're not in the home, I'm an intensive in-home therapist. I go to the kid's house and I actually get to see what they look like, how they're living. And I have to analyze and assess what they look like, the living conditions. So everything starts at the house, the home. If the home has some type of stability, then that transfers to the society. So society does not really look in the home. Society is just, business. I mean, you're just talking about society is, how can I say this? Well, let me get back to the home. The home is where everything starts. So if that's unstable, that whatever that's in the home transfers to society, if that makes sense.
Right.
If our home is unstable, we have issues, then that stuff comes out into society and that forms society. So if you break down, the society is your organization and all that, your communities and churches and what are those organizations. But then if you go into the house, the houses, the people form the society. But if the people are not stable and we have all these issues, which, and nothing new under the sun, we have all this turmoil, then the homes are going to represent it's going to form the society, if that makes sense.
Right. I clearly understand what you're saying.
Yes, sir.
So what is if the home is, if we fix the home, we fix the community.
Yes, right? Sir. Yes. And yes.
So how do we fix the home or encourage the people inside the home to fix themselves?
Well, first you got to meet them where they are and find out what we call assess what's going on with the family. As you jump from households to household, everybody has different challenges. Mm-hmm. So, you go from physical health, mental health, food, water, clothing. Everybody has different challenges. But if we just talking about something basic as food, then a child could have their food and get to school. If a child doesn't have food and you're asking them to do math and all that and they're hungry, we have a problem. But we can easily fix that with food. Let's say mothers who are young and not stable, and we call it not mothers. Well, okay, I'm going to stay on the mother. There's a father side of this too, but it takes two. Right. So the mothers, if the mother's young and she's, not as equipped to handle her kid, then she needs to get equipped. That means get into some programs that are helping her to help her raise her child. I've been in plenty of homes where the grandmother has been doing that because the mother, for some reason, is not, not up to par, should I say. There's a lot of, variables there, but I see grandmothers raising kids. They're filling in the gaps. I know you heard this story a lot. Most time when I go to homes, father's absent. Right. Okay. So do we say, oh, his dad wasn't here, so we got a problem? No, somebody has to come in and be fill-in dad. The pastor, big brother, coaches do more than ever now. You're a football player. I've told my kids I love them. No, is that appropriate? It depends. Right.
Society now is trying to make it inappropriate. Yes. But I understand where you're coming from.
Right. The first commandment is love who? Love your neighbor.
Right.
Okay. So, but some people love stuff for themselves first. That's a whole nother story. But I tell my kids I love them. And, the school system had an issue with that. That's why I left. Why are you telling these kids you love them? Because I do. And then they used to wonder why so many kids around you? Because I care about them and love them. If they perceive me as fake, phony, and you just like the rest, then I have no rapport. I can't get any information to them. I have the information, but what's the use of having information and you can't give it to them? You can't present it. You can't deliver it. You walk around here with all this knowledge applied as power, but they need to have what you have. Right. But if you can't deliver it, you're just walking around.
What's interesting about all of this is I came up I was probably the last of the generation of high school players where in high school, the coaches still cussed at you.
Yes.
And, and hit you in the chest and hit you upside the head before everything got so politically correct in sports.
Right.
And what's so funny what you said is that they don't want the coaches doing that. But if a coach says, I love you, oh, you can't do that either. Like, wait a minute. Your hands is tied. The whole point of playing the game is to learn discipline around other men.
Yes.
And to be taught by other men. Same with women in women's sports, being taught by women. And, now men are teaching women's sports as well.
Yes, sir.
But it's to learn that discipline in a team sport. You're handcuffing the coaches from being, and it's really hurting the kids.
Big time.
And because me and you both know, if you played sports and you was in the band, and I've heard many stories of, and we may get into KK side, but I've heard of KK side as well at the black colleges is rougher in some black colleges than Pledge and Omega.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so, but that's a whole nother story. But in those moments, you find a little bit about yourself.
Yes, sir.
Even when you're playing sports, kids find when you got mental toughness has got to get developed.
Yes. And
we're hindering that from our youth. So then you're going to have a generation of kids that are not mentally tough.
Yes.
Like if you go outside right now, it's a pandemic. Let me tell you something. Remember when we was kids, if they had no school for a year, we would be outside having a ball,
climbing a tree, playing some ball. We were like, we out. We're not staying in the house all day. No video
games. One thing our parents have been like, I don't care where you go. You can go to hell if you want, but you got to
get up out of here. I'm cooking, get out the kitchen, go get dirty, go explore.
Right.
Have fun, then come back home, get clean. Right. That's what we had,
don't come back onto the street light.
Right. And guess what? You had to call us to come home. So we were out, and that's the childhood part. And it's amazing how you say that, because imagine growing up as a kid. We studied Piaget too, in psychology. I'm a child psychology major, developmental stages. So imagine you growing up from age 0 to 5 and not getting what you're supposed to get.
Right.
And then you get to 13, 14, 15. Now you're playing football, but you didn't get so many essential things as a child.
Right.
So now this coach looks at you as a grown man. He expects you to know certain things. Daddy didn't tell you I love you. This, but he playing football, but it's some things he's missing, but you can't see it. It's intangible. You don't know until you start coaching him. And then you realize, man, this bro, he can run this shuttle run. He can do this drill or these gassers, but this dude don't respect nobody.
Right.
Like, wait a minute, let's put the football down. I got to talk to you now. So, but the ultimate thing, football is a tool to get to know them. I never played football, to be honest. I played basketball, but I had a lot of love for the game, and I learned a lot X and O's from coaches. When I realized kids call you coach forever, like when call me the season over, hey coach, I'm like, hey, we ain't playing no game, coach. 10 years later, coach. I'm like, yeah, coach. That's like, wow, influence on that. But football stopped, but life didn't.
Right. I'm 43 and I still call my coaches coach. Yeah, I'm online. Hey, coach.
What's up, coach?
Yeah, right. You like, and literally what's so crazy about this, if a coach was to hit me up online or DM me and tell me something, I'm tuned in.
I'm locked in.
What I need to do. Yes, it's sir. Like, I don't think people really get it. It's like, I'm gonna tell you something. And we're trained.
Yes, sir.
Because you play basketball, you could be walking down the street at the Nova Jazz Festival just coming up this weekend.
Yes.
If somebody was to blow a whistle, you would stop dead in tracks. Because you've been trained.
Either I'm going to run or I'm going to get in line. Wait, is this formation?
Right.
Parade?
Right.
Who got that? If I hear a drum beat or I hear something, I'm looking for it because it's adrenaline rush.
Right.
I'm ready to go to it. Who that? You can hit a bass drum one time. Mm-hmm. My senses, everything locked in. And also with this quick story, one of my guys I coached in middle school, he's with the Detroit Lions now, and this guy called me a couple of days ago he's a undrafted free agent from Norfolk State.
Okay.
Bobby Price. He called me before his game. He called me. He did the warm-ups. Go out 2 hours warm-ups, come back. This guy, coach, I need you to pray for me. I said, bro, you about to go on TV? He made his first start on special teams with the Detroit Lions. And this guy called me. And mind you, his parents are the bomb. I love his parents. That's why he's gotten so far. That's one of the reasons why he's gotten so far. I mean, you can make it with some things, ultimately you need somebody to help you along the way. Sometimes it might not be your biological. Some adult has to bridge you. But anyway, he called me before his game, coach, I need you to pray for me. I said, bro, it's 10 minutes to 1. You about to come on TV. But for you to take the time to call me, put me in the tears, man. Yeah. And this kid, we cut him 6th and 7th grade because it was too small. And then he have a shoulder pads to fit you. Go play Pee Wee League.
Right.
8th grade, he finally, coach, one of my boys I coached with, he playing in the band with me. He said, man, look, you pick your defense. I pick my offense. So I said, I want this guy. He said, man, you still want him? I want him. He has heart.
Right.
I have no big guys, 200 pounds, no heart. Don't even want to touch the ball. This dude has heart, and I kept him, and he he wanted to play so bad. You didn't have to motivate him. And he went from Lynn Haven Middle School to First Colonial to Bishop Sullivan to Norfolk State. Behold the green and gold.
Right.
And went straight to Detroit. And so how you think I'm feeling? So right. I see you out there and I'm like, man, you have a success story. Like for the guys that, who are fighting an uphill climb or, well, if he can do it, you're giving hope to somebody. He can do it, I can. So you want to establish hope for people.
Yeah.
But him to call me coach and call me before the game started, man, it lets me know, God, you have me where I need to be.
Right.
There's more confirmation. Keep coaching them.
Yeah. and another thing that's really society don't really know is to get to the NFL or professional in any sport. It's a lot of coaches along the way.
Yes.
It's a lot of luck that happens. The ability to not get injured, and then the hard work on the individual.
Yes.
And, let alone the coaches. It's a lot of work that went into. People don't just wake up.
Yes,
them
sir.
stories you hear about the guy from Nigeria that comes over, he comes to school, and he said, I just want to play basketball because he's 6'8". And he happens to be decent at it. Right. Them stories don't really happen. Those are like on the fringes. Like most of the time, it's the people who really grinding.
Yes.
Grinding it out. And athletes work very hard to get what they're getting.
Yes.
So it's not like it's not easy. So a lot of people, are envious to the point of athletes till they start hating on them. Like, oh, all you doing is dribbling the basketball. It's like, do you realize how long? I had to tell my son. My son was like, I want, shoot like Steph Curry. I was like, he's 7. I was like, Steph Curry didn't have, when I tell him to go outside to play basketball, it's too hot. I said, if I'd have told Steph Curry that, I wouldn't even have to tell him that.
His dad would have made him.
He would have just picked up a ball and went.
Yeah.
And just like with me, didn't nobody tell me to go lift weights or to go practice. I just got up and did. Like you said just then, earlier, the doing what you're doing now, nobody is having to prompt you to do it. You wake up in the morning, brush your teeth, shower, whatever, boom, I'm going to go do that.
You're locked in.
Locked in.
Yes, sir.
Even when you probably on vacation, you could probably be in Jamaica, but when you sitting there chilling, you're like, I could do such and such. This be a better way to do X, Y, and Z because it's on your brain because it's not really work for you.
Yes, sir.
And that's what I try to get people to. That's the whole point of the show is trying to get people to understand. Like when you get into your purpose and your calling, it gets easy to be in it. And then you got to let God just kind of fund your way.
Yes.
If that makes sense. Like, don't worry about the money and the means.
Right.
He going to take care of that because, because money ain't everything, but because he'll give you, he'll give you the ability and the things that money can buy.
Yes. If I might share something, another confirmation was, first of all, this is my reason why my parents, this is a notebook full of letters. And these letters kids started writing me. Most kids don't like to write. I know I wasn't a writer.
Right.
I only read a book if I had a test. I'll be honest with you.
Right.
I didn't want to read. It wasn't my forte. Okay. So tests, I'm reading, but just to be, no. So, and I had the after school program going when I started working at Virginia Beach Middle School in the Virginia Beach school system. We had this school where I call it the haves and have-nots. There's kids with a lot of stuff and the kids with not a lot. So my position I had in the Virginia Beach school system was student support. I focused on grades, behavior, attendance. So most of the kids had low grades. And my job was to go find those kids, not necessarily target you, but look at, those kids that weren't doing well. So focus on them. So I started this after school program and my attendance was so high that the principal asked where all these kids want to be around you. I kept getting asked. I said, well, I'm starting my program, but usually these kids don't usually start school. They gone. How they with you now? And she was talking to me like they weren't supposed to be here.
Right.
I said, well, that's my job is to help them. You know that. You're the principal. So long story short, she asked all those kids to write letters. Why do you want to be with Mr. James? Because most of them think, oh, he's just having fun, chilling. Okay. Well, at least they're in school.
Right.
Not in jail. They're not being chased by the police, not breaking into your house.
That's crazy that.
So moving forward, these letters, they wrote the letters, CB. One of the letters said, Mr. James, if I can't do my homework at home because it's too noisy, I can concentrate with you. And Mr. James, you're like my father. And man, CB, I broke down. I still have the letters 10 years ago. And it was another confirmation from God saying, hey, I need you here. Sometimes people get around a mist and a lot of turmoil and they be like, I don't need to be here. No, that's where you need to be.
Right.
That need you to settle it down. We need you to work. Stop being afraid of the challenge.
God took what that principal was trying to prove that you won't doing nothing and turn it into a positive that you got in the book. And now you got hardcore proof.
Thank you, sir. And I asked her, CB, she made all my kids come to the auditorium. I don't try to write letters. Now, mind you, she was saying this like she was like I was it's a problem with me working with the kids, while the other teachers, oh, how you doing? Okay, so but you see me, this educated black man with influence, I think that rub a lot of people the wrong way.
Exactly.
And that's another whole story. And I couldn't figure out why I was getting this resistance from a principal. So the kids even wore suits. That I came dressed because I wanted to model for them. This is, I'm modeling for you.
Right.
I want you to see how to tie, what a successful business black man looks like. And most of them was 80% black kids.
Right.
So when they wrote those letters, I said, can I get copies of those? And it blew her out the water because she didn't think they were going to respond as like they did. And those letters are so amazing. It just altered the course of my life. It cemented me into where I was supposed to be. So, and some people are a little shallow up here when it comes to thinking. But when I serve this awesome God, you're going to be put in places where they need you, but the resistance is very strong. And even from people with degrees and with doctorates. And I thought we had the same jersey. Right.
I'm telling you, I'm sitting here, I am floored that you had to go through that. That is crazy.
That was one scenario. just one. And I'm like, we're on the same team. Ain't she the quarterback? I'm blocking for you. Are you my opponent? And I started realizing people was telling my kids were keep it 100. Mr. James, they just jealous of you. I was like, why would they be jealous of me? I'm on their side. Yes, you should have your own school. But they would say this in front of people. Like, look, I don't have my own school. Well, you should be the principal. Like, can you stop? No, Mr. James, you love kids. Kids, my sister, Darlene, she said, kids will be your mouthpiece. I said, what do you mean, Darlene? No, your kids will speak for you. And I realized they supported me in my absence.
Right.
Like they said, I love Mr. James. I wasn't even in the building that day.
Right.
And when I walk in the building, hey, Mr. James.
Right.
And people didn't like that. And I started realizing my greatest challenge are my people that's my age, who I work with. Right. Not my kids. I know what I'm going to get from them. I'm going to get some, but my coworkers.
Right.
I was like, are you on my team or no?
Right. I can hear him that. Why has Eric got to be so extra?
Yeah.
Just look, just come in here, just do what they ask you to do and go on home. Yeah. Like, don't be extra. Cause now you're putting extra pressure on me.
Yes.
And that's exactly what the principal, it's like, well, it was one or two ways that the principal should have handled that. No, or could. The one that they did. Mm-hmm. The opposite way is the good leadership way. So wait a minute. Obviously, this person has got something that I don't have.
Yes, sir.
Is the ability to connect with these kids. So I need to utilize that.
Right.
Versus trying to snuff it out.
I want to block it.
Right. I would have took you and said, okay, this is what we're going to do.
Right.
You're going to do your thing. And I'd have sat right there at the top, said, yep, my program over here. And thanks to Mr. James.
Yes.
And then we would have rolled it all the way to the top together.
Wrote it. But the thing is, in another building, that did happen. It depends on who your leadership is.
There you go.
Leadership is very different. Now, one of the biggest pluses about my job as student support, I had multiple schools that I worked. So it was different principles, different ways of doing things. Now you got the black and white, but then your ultimate leadership of a person. Like you go from one football to team to the next, it's football, but we got different coaches.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, some guys, bless the Lord, I love you. Some guys, shut up and do it. You know, you get, Dad, bro, last coach of my other team,
right,
talking about Jesus, not this guy. Oh, I don't even want to do my back pedal no more. Right. You know,
Tony Dungy versus Bill Belichick. You know,
right? Yeah, hey, trade. You know, right. You know, I love football, but trade.
Right.
You know, so there's a human part of it. You know, because again, not everybody. I always said when I saw the movie, with Nick Cannon, Drumline. Yes. He said, one band, one sound. And man, that thing is, you can say one band, one sound in a corporation or a church or football. One band, what does that mean? We all, it's one band. A band could be 50 to 300 people, but our sound is one. Mm-hmm. And if you get that mentality of one band, one sound, and I used to say it with my kids would say it back to me. We in this together. You have to have that mentality. So in drama, I had a lot of scenes in there was teaching, but you can say that in a corporation. If you want to do a development, trying to get people together, watch this movie, or you teach from it. Or the Titans, you coming together in second grade. You have to have, and when you walk into a building, if that leadership is terrible, it spreads down. My thing is, if I'm a principal, what you do best? And I need you. If you're the janitor, you clean this good, thank you.
Right.
I don't care. Like, no job is no important than the other. God designed you to be the street sweeper, the sweep. Mm-hmm. Then sweep that street like it's God's street. It's not ours. We don't own anything. But you're the principal, then you know what? Make sure that your teachers and whoever janitors, they're appreciated. So when they come to work, they ready. You don't have to be having all these meetings because somebody don't want to be there. Because you want somebody to want to come to work.
Right.
And one of my principals, she's an AK. I used to stand beside her when the kids got off the bus because I would greet them. They said one of the ways to keep a kid at school is greet them out the bus. So when they come off, they would give me high five, bam, bam, bam. And the principal was wondering why y'all were giving me high five, but not her. And I was like, I was speechless because the kid, hey, Miss James, hey, Miss James, Miss James. I built the rapport with them first. Mm-hmm. Sometimes adults think the kid's supposed to come to them. We actually serving the kids. We got it twisted.
Right.
So if it weren't for the kids, you wouldn't have no job.
Right.
Hello. So the kids get off. I'm kind of worshiping you. Ray, I'm glad you're here. Tatiana, good. How you doing, girl? I'm glad you're here. So I got to cheerleaders.
Right.
Wow. Okay. I think I'm gonna do good today. Not like when you get in class, you better not do. Nobody wants to see that ugly face at 8:30 in the morning. They just had a tough night. They need somebody to, bro, I'm glad you here. What's up? Miss J, what's up? So, but first you have to plant the seed.
It was, you Chick-fil-A the thing.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? Like, think about it. I told my wife, I said, look, Chick-fil-A sandwiches they're good, but are they the best? Are they worth a line down the street? No. But people are there because the people greet you when you get to the window
all day.
There's no line in Hardee's because they're like, what you want? They got an attitude because you're there.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. People need to rewatch this. I might even send this to get transcribed so people can get it. Because if you greet people the way that you was greeting them, you recognize those students was basically like your customers.
Yes.
And your job, your livelihood depended on them.
Yes, that's what you went to school for.
Right.
You study kids.
So why would you stand there? I'm here to greet them off the bus, but not greet them. Mm-hmm. How much that's like going to the gym. You get dressed to go to the gym, to stand there and not work out.
Look at the weight. Mental reps.
But then check this out. But then leave the gym and expect to have lost some weight.
And expect that you can actually handle somebody or whatever. Why don't I look like him?
Right.
You ain't put in the work. What is sweat at? Like, what is sweat? Like, you know sweat? No, yeah. Where is it?
that is a very, very good point. And what you said about you have to go to them. You have to go to the kids in order.
How does a farmer get a harvest?
Yeah.
He plant the seed. Why the farmer gonna be like, man, ain't nothing growing this year? Dude, did you put the corn down? Oh, I forgot. So, my fault. Wait, no, we behind now. Cause it's the kid. It starts at the beginning, and with the kids, I always value the life of one kid, like I wanted a kid to feel important. So I continuously man, I'm so glad you're here today. Can I come? I pay your lunch bell. They were looking for consistency. I told them I love them, which bothered Virginia Beach City Public Schools. That was my, I learned a lot in this school. No. I thank God for the opportunity, and I know that's why I had my experience. I'm not trying to undermine. I'm not trying to throw them under the bus, please. But I was really hurt when my influence with the kids got taken the wrong way with other adults, and it bothered me because they didn't look at somebody that wasn't my color. Somebody that was of other color was fine. And I saw that. Why does he get to do what he want? But when I'm doing the same thing, it's a problem. And me, I don't serve man. I don't serve a principle. I serve the Lord. And this will probably rub people the wrong way.
Right.
But right now I'm so outspoken, I don't care who it rubs the wrong way because I realized I had to have my own. That's what made me have my own, CB. I got really excited in 2018 when I purchased my LLC when they told LeBron James, all you can do is dribble a basketball. And that dude went and opened a school. How can you be mad at a brother for wanting to educate kids who are unfortunate?
Right.
And it's sad to me that I know that somebody's going to say that because of this. He's a black man. And I know I sound, you hear this all the time. I'm not this guy that just preaching black, but I'm talking about my own experiences.
You speaking facts.
My own experiences. Like, I couldn't understand why, I was getting, but I said, God said, look, you're going to get resistance. Okay. And nobody owns anything. The schools and all that, we leave in this world one day, but while you're here,
right.
Then put your mark on the world. Say, because of CB Baker, because of this guy, I made it. All I want is because of Coach James, I have a better quality of life.
Yeah.
Not for me to boast, but it's because I'm gonna leave one day. I want I leave a lasting impression on the world, especially the kids. People say you have a legacy. That means you never die.
Right.
People talk about you when you're not around. Well, what did Eric James do for you? He gave me a cheeseburger one day on a test day, and I didn't have no food, but it helped me something because you're gonna give. If you have it to give. I'd be like, I'll be fine, dude. I'll eat later. I just fast,
right.
But I just want you just to get through it. I want you to make it. Even with the girls, I was taught step team. Miss Jean, you like my dad. I was like, why you keep saying that? You keep telling I'm your dad. What's the deal with that?
All right.
Jean, I've never had met my father. You like my second dad. Okay, can that translate to an A in English?
Right.
I didn't have a control over what they call me. If you see me as that, then see me as that.
Right.
But I know my title is not dad in the school, but it became my title. And that a lot of people, when they start hearing that, they're like, why are they calling you dad? I was like, I don't know, but if she gonna come to school and do her work, leave it alone. Okay,
Right.
that's all I
They
need.
worrying about the wrong thing.
Yeah, I'm saying,
Right.
but anyway, just I have millions of stories, but God pushed me off the cliff and said, "Look, I need you to do you now." And I didn't plan it. It wasn't my plan. CB, I said, God, know this is you. You pulled me out of school system. They asked me to resign over saying I love you to kids.
Wow.
And it made me feel like I was less than. And you got people out here doing crazy stuff and they still have jobs who are not my color. So, and sometimes I get a little outspoken because when you feel like you've been done wrong, I'm not going to have a sob story. I'm just going to bounce back. Steve Harvey said this, they didn't know I was a seed. They threw some dirt on me, but I was a seed. Right. So I just grew.
Right.
So I didn't get mad and curse you out. I said, okay, God, you doing something. So I had to trust in him even more. And that's how Touch Life Academy came. Now I can make decisions on my own. But God put the right pieces with people with skill set around me. He didn't leave me hanging. He says, it's time for you to do you.
Right.
My heart is still the same, but he's like, okay, you got these limitations here. You can't do this, can't do that. Stop telling me I can't,
right.
So God said, peace be still. I got you. I got your battle. But it just, man, is a blessing. Yeah. I'll just say that.
So how can someone get in touch with you and your company to get services or to enter your program? How's that work?
Great. Actually, you can go to my website at www.touchlifeacademy.com and it'll prompt you to email me. I got a few online courses up there. You can email me through my website, or you can follow me on Instagram at touchalife1, or you can email me at touchalife1@gmail.com. I do a variety of things. I motivational speak. I go mentor. I've had community programs. I had one program in the South Norfolk Memorial Library, and COVID came and shut it down. That was just, delay doesn't mean denial. Just, waiting to open back up. www.touchlifeacademy.com. And that right there is my niece, Candace Harris. She actually became my business consultant when I stepped out on faith and I left the school system. She built my website. So people start coming around me with skill set and helping me.
Right.
It's amazing. They say if you combine love and skill set together, bam. And I always wanted to turn my ideas into income and my passion into profits. So they say if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
Right.
But I didn't stop what I was doing. I just took it to another level. But my course, it ended. It was time for me to go, but not to stop what I was doing. Just start having ownership. Yeah, so my website, I didn't create my website. My niece did, my own family. Then I met a videographer. His name is Dave Allegre. He started producing my videos. I'm like, okay, God, I'm not a web developer. But God put it there for me. And I said, okay. And I was ready to talk. I'm a talker. I used to get called talking tail by my boss. And Mr. James, you talk all the time, but what you saying is good stuff. Right. I said, well, I got a story. And kids want to be heard. Kids need somebody to, we got plenty of people who need to hear what we have to say. But again, I know how to contact me is www.touchlifeacademy.com. My email is www.touchlife1@gmail.com. You can follow me on Instagram at touchalife1. I have been excited about how my company's growing, and I know that you can grow based on the individuals that you meet. But I have a lot of support from people, especially my students. I've had them for years, and they still call me to this day, Mr. James, out of the blue call, Mr. James, how you doing? I just finished at JMU. Mr. James, turn on TV. I'm playing football. Mr. James, I saw you playing your horn at the beach the other night. Can I come see you?
Right.
They're still there. But it's still more mouths out there waiting. So when I start programs, they come back to help me. And, so I'm.
So with COVID.
Yes, sir.
Are you still doing programs? Are they on ice? How are you working?
Right now it's kind of on hold, but I can actually, I'm a mobile program. I can come to you.
Gotcha.
Yeah, my program, I don't have a building that I own, but I was in the library. Like there are buildings that can house you.
Right.
It's just a matter of them knowing what you do.
Right.
And a lot of times how I get my events is word of mouth. And most of the time on social media, I post strategically. I'm trying to reach my crowd through my life story or through just testimonies, or I always try to uplift my students like you're doing here.
Right.
I try to, I've had the Touch of Life talk show where I uplift them. And I wanted the audience to see that, hey, you know, that Mr. James is helping, because some people, like you said, you know, you have this program, but are you really helping people? Well, here's the footage.
Right.
Here's the proof. Right. You know,
like the letter.
Right.
Boom.
Here it is. Bam.
Right.
Like, oh, we know him.
Right.
Oh, Bobby's at that. Yeah. Then I show you a booth. I want them to see that. I don't have anything to prove to somebody, but if a person wants to hire me, they want to say, well, what did you do in the past? Like, why should I pay you $1,000 to speak today?
Right.
Well, go up there and look. Right. I'm not going to talk you to death. I want you to just follow me here and look at it. Look at the testimonies, because I'm not in the business of trying to convince somebody. I'm not in the convincing business. I'm going to work hard. If you want to see it, then just jump on this. Because now with social media, it's so easy to start a business and get this advertisement stuff. Back in the day, you had to work hard. Mm-hmm. You know, advertisement was way different.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. So now you can go free advertisement. But how do you get your client? Why should they hire me?
Right.
And I don't, presentation beats, documentation beats presentation. Here it is. And it's not me being high-minded or I'm boasting. I can show you what I've been doing. So I post to try to reach out to people to say, hey, okay, this guy is really trying to help people. But sometimes you can't do it by yourself. You need to connect. Team. Yes. Together, everyone achieves more. You already know, bro. You already on it, brother.
All right, man. So you got any events coming up you want to mention?
Let's see. I am a part of a soul funk R&B band. We will be playing some music down at the beach August 26th. This is to open up for Funk Fest.
Okay.
Funk Fest will be at the beach. They've been on pause because of COVID. We play there Thursday night at Low Key Bistro, Low Key Southern Bistro. That is right down there on 30th Street. We'll be facing the ocean front. And I'll also be playing. I also play blues with other bands as well. I'll be playing some blues tonight down there with other bands. I'm a trombonist, but I have my regular band, Soul Statics, and some other bands sometimes ask me to sit in. And not many trumpets and trombones and saxophones out there.
Right.
So they asked me to sit in. But my main band is called Soul Statics, and it's led by my best friend, Derek Kennedy. But yes, we'll be there August 26th down at Low Key Southern Bistro. Also, we just got booked to play on a Saturday during the day, the 28th. So we'll be out down around all that funk and soul and R&B at the ocean front.
Since you mentioned funk music, just real quick, what is your favorite funk song to play?
Okay, my favorite band is Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Okay,
The Elements. Growing up, I always listened to my music, listened to my brother play the Earth, Wind, and Fire. But when I got into the band, the song that we learned by Cameo is called "Talking Out the Side of Your Neck." Yeah. It's HBCU. It's the national anthem.
Right.
Besides Lift Every Voice and Sing,
right.
Our anthem, which I would have sing that as opposed to the other one. But anyway, move forward. It's called Talking Out the Side of Your Neck. Every HBCU band, this is something that you learn at band camp. And I wish I could just hum it and play it for you, but it's called Talking Outside of Your Net. Bum, bum, ba-dum, bum, ba-bum, bum, ba-dum, bum. They know that song.
Right.
Everybody stands to their feet, touchdown scored.
Mm-hmm.
That right there will make someone just start dancing wherever you are. So it's called Talking Outside of Your Net by Cameo.
I went to Southern.
You already know, right?
I'm very familiar with it.
You might be on the sidelines,
right?
Hey, because the band is almost like another sport to me.
Yeah,
because we practice all the time, man. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah, because at Southern, the practice field at Southern when I was there was you could spit from there to the band where they practice.
Okay,
so. And if we needed the other field, they would just go in the parking lot to practice, and they had painted the parking lot as a field. So, the band would still be able to practice. So we're out there practicing and the band is practicing too.
Right.
So that's when I first got to Southern. I was like, wow, like the band is a real deal,
it's real.
And
you guys were formed, Southern will form, not to cut you off, sir. They will form the halftime score.
Yeah.
And that's like, wow, I was very fascinated by Southern, the Jaguars.
If you saw them and how much practice that went into that,
Yes.
So they, one thing I will say that Southern always prided themselves on the horn section, but you made a comment earlier about one band, one sound. That, in my opinion, is the reason why Southern can never consistently be better than Grambling or FAMU in a band competition, because they're so focused on the horns, so where you see the girl down there with the flute, you can't hear it because and I had I got frat brothers that was in the band. They said, yeah, all they do is just tell you just blow it as hard as you can.
Yes.
Instead of playing it, they got the concert band, the jazz band, and when you're taking band, you got to go to a lot of people don't know this. Yes. Everybody is in the band is trained to play the instrument for real.
Yes.
But it's just when they go to march, you getting sound, boom,
And that's I'm glad you said it, because now with me playing, I'm 49, and most people have started playing their instrument, but now I'm playing this. I played in jazz band, symphonic, concert, pep band, and we have a conductor, not a drum major, conductor, and there's something called dynamics. You have to read those dynamics. Sometimes a horn section has to be quiet. Piccolo might be soloing. Right. And if you did not respect what was on that music, the band director cussed you out again. And if he kept cussing you out, he gonna put you out. He would say it. So the band, there's times that we got concert formation on the football field playing Janet Jackson anytime, any place. We're quiet at the beginning. We call it pianissimo. Then there's times where we came up to mezzo forte or fortissimo. It showed it made the conductor look well, because we're playing
right
instead of just blasting.
Right.
When we played Grambling one year, Grambling just had one level. It was here. It's loud. We played them in Dallas, Texas. I was like, did they have a button where we could just turn them down?
Right.
So, but we had dynamics as well. And it's almost like I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna use an analogy in football. It's a running play, but you think it's a pass play. So we're not on the same accord, man. Right. You ain't running the route, whatever. Right. So with music, if it's like playing music and not even looking at the dynamics on the page. Yeah. So I understand that, brother.
Being from the MEAC, I understand what you're coming from, because I grew basically in the SWAC. All the bands in the SWAC are loud. Yeah. Is who can get the loudest. But then when FAMU would come play, and then because it's 200 when the band's active. That's a whole nother story. But when the band is active and it's 200 people, you cannot outplay them loudness wise. So you gotta do something different.
Yeah.
And Southern, like Clockwork, Dr. Greggs, I think he's passed away, may he rest in peace, that he just kept wanting to do the same thing and trying to overpower FAM, and it's just not going to happen. Mm-hmm. It's just not going to happen, no. So, but yeah, that's all. We're off in the weeds on the band on that one. But yes, that's HBCU for you. Like we can talk for 2 more hours about that.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Eric, for coming to the show, man. You gave a lot of great information. And like I said, y'all need to go and re-listen to this, because the biggest part I'm taking away from this is greeting the people off the bus.
Yes, sir.
Greet your customers and show them the love, because you don't have a business or a job without those people.
Thank you. Love that analogy. Yes. And look, the more that you treat them right, and it comes back sevenfold.
Yep.
Even it works. I'm living testimony. So greet that's your clientele. Treat them, like they said, treat them like you want to be treated. But first you have to know what that means too. That's another whole story. So, but anyway, if I wanted you to take anything that might rise to action, rise to the call, how you want to say it, take care of our kids and they'll take care of us. No matter what capacity you're in, they need our help. So, and it's going to take a sacrifice, but just remember who's watching. He's keeping account of all of our actions. So, reach out to that one kid. You could change your life.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Thank y'all so much for listening and watching. And please hit the like button, share, and subscribe to this channel. This is your host, CB Baker. Till next time. Peace.